This is it. Game 7, the 10th meeting, Notre Dame at Oklahoma. The University of Notre Dame has been into Norman 3 times of the 10 meetings. They will be here this time. They were here in 1966. They were here in 1962. And of course, as obviously I don't know because I'm much too young to know about this, even though I was born in 82, so I'm getting up there in age, but I was not born in 1957, which was, at that time, the birth and the end of the 47-game winning streak, which to this day, almost 60 years running, is still out there. Before I break down Notre Dame, I would like to thank the University of Oklahoma. I would like to thank Joe Castiglione, the athletic director at OU, Bob Stoops, President Borden, and all the Oklahoma Notre Dame people. This is one of those games that you love. Oklahoma's not shied away from these games. We've played Alabama. We've played Miami. We've played BYU. We've played Florida State. This is going to be fun right here. It's going to be interesting because you don't get to meet those teams every year. And I'm just really excited about this. Considering I have been so excited about this game ever since we learned about it. Last meeting between these two teams was played in South Bend. The Brandon Daniels play, if you'll remember that. He had a big punt return for a touchdown. It ended up not helping the Sooners, as Notre Dame, coached by Coach Davey, who's now with ESPN, beat out Bob Stoops 27-21 in South Bend. As far as last year's record for Notre Dame, it wasn't too bad. It was 8-5. Their bowl game was a loss in the Champs Sports Bowl, 18-14 to Florida State, which is the battle of the big boys for OU. Battle of the big boys. Last two big boy teams that Sooners have played, Florida State and Notre Dame. Their head coach, Brian Kelly, he's been at 4 different universities. He was at Division II Grand Valley State, where he got 118 wins, 35 losses, and 2 ties. Division I, he's been at Central Michigan, and as Sooner fans know, he's been at Cincinnati and Notre Dame. The reason I say that is Bob Stoops and company have played Cincinnati, and they will play Notre Dame. They've played 2 of the 3 schools that they have, or they will have by the end of the year, play 2 of the 3 teams that Brian Kelly has coached with in Division I. Of those 3 schools in Division I, he's got 187 wins with 66 losses and 2 ties in Division I. Points per game for the Irish last year was 22.3. And the guy that Brian Kelly wishes he could have back, well, that's, of course, Michael Floyd, who went to the NFL. Last year, Floyd had 100 catches for 1,147 yards and 9 touchdowns. Their returning quarterback will be Tommy Reese. He passed for 2,800 yards and 20 touchdowns. As far as running backs are concerned, Sear Wood will probably carry that mark. Last year for the Irish, he had 217 carries for 1,102 yards. And Reese has to have someone to throw to, throwing for almost 3,000 yards, right? Well, Tyler Everett had 63 catches for 103 yards and 5 TDs. Their defensive player is Monte Teo. He was a guy that was projected to go ahead and leave Notre Dame. He had such a good year with Brian Kelly last year, and I'm going to go over his stats here in a second, but he decided to come back. Last year, when everyone thought he would leave, he had 128 tackles and a forced fumble. Their kicker, Nick Tosh, was 1 for 100% last time he played. Now, it's been a year. He didn't play last year. He sat it out. But he is 1 for 1 in the last couple of... But he is 1 for 1, so he made his last field goal that he tried. And that was in the Sun Bowl against Miami a year after we went to the Sun Bowl. As far as punting's concerned, Ben Turk takes care of that. He had 53 punts, 40.3 in average, and 58 was his long. This is a pretty good Notre Dame team, 8-5 last year. One of those 5 losses was surprisingly to USF, University of Southern Florida. That was kind of a weird game. It ended up working out great for them. Of course, the person that built that program to be where it is, Selman, is a great former Sooner. He was actually, the week of that South Florida game, he was put in the hospital in Tampa and died that Sunday, Saturday night, Sunday. So that was a not so bright spot. But the brighter spot is that they won at South Bend, which is something that not a lot of people can say that they can do. But these guys have done that in South Florida. Another big game that I saw these guys play was when they played Tulsa. I believe Notre Dame won that game, but well, now that I think about it, I think Tulsa did win it because it was the night that we played Colorado, so it the final Colorado game, so it was kind of a later game. So those are the only 2 real Notre Dame games that I've watched over the last 2 or 3 years. So I do not know a lot about this team. They went 8-5. I really wouldn't be surprised if they had a good season. That doesn't mean that I think they're going to come in here and win. I think that Oklahoma will be hungry. I think that they'll be ready. I think that this rivalry getting started up again, particularly in Norman, with Bob Stoops, where he has only lost 3 games in almost 13 years, which, by the way, is amazing to me, excuse me, is going to help him out a lot. It will also help in that he's playing almost, not exactly, but almost the same offense that the previous week against Notre Dame. The next game out, the next game on the schedule will be very interesting to find out how that works. It will be at Iowa State, team that last year got a huge win over Oklahoma State and really opened up the floodgates for what ended up being one of, if not the most exciting final weeks of the BCS. But this game will be very interesting to find out what happens. I think that Oklahoma wins it. It's going to be fun. Only the 10th meeting between these rivals. I'm pretty sure everybody that is a Sooner fan is a fan of this team, is a fan of this rivalry. as I said, I don't really know a lot about the 57 team, all except for the fact is that they beat us and ended our 47, could have been our 48th game winning streak. Other than that, I don't know a lot about the rivalry between these two, in that they haven't met every year like they have with Texas, like they have met with OSU, and so on and so forth. And Nebraska being in on there too. So it'll be kind of interesting to find out how this thing goes. This has been Harry James. I hope you guys enjoyed the YouTube cast. Next time we'll break around down the Iowa State game. Until then, love you guys a lot, and Boomer Sooner.